take it real soon. You know we got what you need, baby, so take it, move along. I said we got what you need, honey, come and groove along. Come on. Rolling on the highway, ease up. Wow! Come on, and groove along. Come on. Said babe, I said babe, oh honey, come and groove along. You gotta feel it, yeah, you gotta move along. Gotta feel it, feel it, feel it, feel. You gotta feel it, feel it, feel it, feel. You gotta feel it on the roadway. You gotta move along, baby.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Welcome to Jubilee Circle. We're so glad that you are here in the room with us and also out there joining us live on YouTube. So thank you for being here however you are joining us. Some maybe joining us telepathically out there. Who knows? There's all sorts of ways to do. That's right. To do what we're doing here. If you need a bulletin here in the room, they're over on the credenza. If you need a bulletin and you're watching us on YouTube, you can look down further. There should be a link in the YouTube description, or you can go to jubileecircle.com and you will find a link right there on the front page. 2, 3, 4. My heart beats, beats, beats with the peace of God. My heart beats, beats you in the field beyond. Our hearts beat, beat, beat with the peace of God. Our hearts beat, beat in the field beyond. Our hearts beat, yeah, they beat together as one. Our hearts beat, we meet where we begun. My heart beats, beats, beats with the peace of God. My heart beats, beats you in the field beyond. Our hearts beat, beat, beat with the peace of God. Our hearts beat, beat in the field beyond. Our hearts beat, yeah, they beat together as one. Our hearts beat, we meet where we begun. Each heartbeat brings me peace. Each breath it gives me strength. Each heartbeat sings your name. Each moment I come home again. My heart beats, beats, beats with the peace of God. My heart beats, beats you in the field beyond. La 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 la, la 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 la. We're all peace. La 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 la, la 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 la. We're all light. La 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 la, la 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 la. We're all one. Each heartbeat brings me peace. Oh, that song is based on A Course in Miracles, lesson 267. My heart beats with the peace of God. So you can find song inspirations just anywhere. So welcome everybody to Jubilee Circle. We are again glad that you have joined us this lovely, humid, spring-like morning. What the heck is happening? It's like summer out there. It's like fall went, oh look, I'm taking a vacation. I'll be back around December. Just in time for winter. All right. If we have one of those, my dogs are shedding like crazy. I'm going to predict like there's no winter for like the 5th year in a row. Forget it. We're not having winter. But today we are continuing our VIA Negativa theme of the Tao of Darkness. In the Tao Te Ching, darkness represents the indiscernibility of life. So when we bring curiosity and awareness to what we perceive as the mysteries in our lives, we can begin to see how the holy is always moving in, through, and around us to help us discover that inner divine light and remember who we truly are. It was that ancient Sufi mystic Rumi who said, yes, he said that too. When he was very, very young, Arlo, he said exactly that. Wah, wah, wah. But later in life, the Sufi mystic Rumi, he said, what you seek is seeking you. And in the English translation, it's really easy to read our desire for things of this world in this slogan. It's tempting to sort of make it our law of attraction mantra to get the money or the relationship or the fame or the power or the adoration that we want in the world. However, when we read this passage in a Farsi translation, which is much closer to the original Persian that Rumi wrote in, the line changes a little bit, and it reads, what you seek is with you. So the change is subtle. What you seek is seeking you. What you seek is with you. It kind of reminds me of what that Jesus guy said about the realm of God being within. And we should not be listening to anyone who says the realm of God is out here somewhere. Look, there it is. Look, it's over there. Look, it's there. The realm of the holy, which, by the way, is what we are all truly seeking, is right here, within our own heart and our mind and our soul. Both Rumi and Jesus agree on this point, which means, jubilants, the eternal question that we face is this: which world are you pursuing? In which world will you seek your desires? Will you play the ego's game of seek but do not find and chase its fleeting and ultimately unsatisfying idea of what brings peace or joy or love? Or are you seeking on that higher realm, that spiritual realm, that which is already with you, that eternal, knowable, and unshakable peace, love, and joy? You know, the choice seems clear enough, but this is the point where the ego goes, hey, I can give you both. And the answer is, we can have both. We can have worldly joy and peace and eternal joy and peace. You can have both inner and outer. But the ego's plan for accomplishing that is never going to work. Pursuing desires outside first will never, ever result in the peace that passes all understanding, because that's already within us. It's already freely available without having to pursue anything at all. It's just waiting to be recognized, for us to say yes to it and accept that it is true, that we are already peace and love and joy. And jubilants, when you can do that, and you claim the inside world is already holy in the realm of God, then you will not believe how fast the outer world will conform to that. So fast, all you'll know to say is, oh yeah. Please rise as you're able. And we open our Jubilee Circle celebration in the same way all the time. by remembering the elements, the fire and the earth and the water and the air. And we burn sage as a reminder that this is a safe and a sacred place. And we also burn sage as a reminder that it is a time to set your intentions, to set your personal intentions, to remember who you are, to remember that you are peace and love and joy. And in that personal intention, we broadcast it to the world to remind everyone that they too are that peace and love and joy. And we orient ourselves in this sacred time and space by calling the four directions. So I invite you to turn and face the east. As the sun rises in the east, Holy One, remind us. It has no desires. It simply does what it's created to do, to blaze its fire and radiate its heart without thinking that we owe it something for the life-giving rays it brings to this little blue boat we're all sailing around on. Let us be like the sun, blazing our life-giving love into the world, wanting nothing in return. Quarter turn to the right, we face the south. The south doesn't want anything when it brings its heat and light to any corner of this world. It just takes its turn in the seasons. It brings forth its fruits and vegetables, its insects and other bounty that thrives in its warm embrace. Let us be like the south, bringing the fire of our passion for life into the world without seeking anything in return. Quarter turn to the right, we face the west. As the stars rise and the sun's light recedes this day and every day, Holy One, remind us that the darkness doesn't want anything from us. It just blankets us. Whether we're rich or poor or powerful or pathetic, loving or recalcitrant, it invites us to rest in its embrace. Find comfort even in times that may appear to be dark. May we be like the West, inviting every weary soul to rest in the holy love that flows through us without ever wanting anything in return. Quarter turn to the right, we face the north. The winter winds of the north have no desire to chill us to the bone. It's just what it's created to do, to force fertile ground into frozen fallowness so that new seeds of growth are given a chance to germinate and bloom when the thaw comes. May we be like the north, allowing the seeds of our growth to lie fallow in cold times and then bloom in ways that serve the world without ever wanting anything in return. And as we turn back toward the center, you'll see plenty of people with all sorts of desires, both met and unmet. But in this sacred time and place, Jubilance, I invite you to examine those desires. Are they things that are demanding something from others and might be causing feelings of separation? Or are they desires that bring you into service to others and create more unity? You'll know your desires are those that bring peace and love and joy into this world, because everyone around you will suddenly be saying, oh yeah. All right, let's spread a little sage around. All right. And remain standing, and we will do our opening song here. Got a little U2 for you this morning. Little for the band, little for the band, little for the band. All right. And again, if you need a bulletin, jubileecircle.com is where you go, and you will find it there. Okay. What is happening to my strap? Okay. All right. If I were prepared, life would be so good.
Anybody.
All right. Here we go. Yeah. I invite you to greet one another and dance. I'm off the street, gonna go where the bright lights and the big city in me, with a red guitar on fire. Desire, she's a candle burning in my perfection. She's the promise in the year of election. Oh, sister, I can't let you go. I'm like a preacher stealing hearts at a traveling show. For love of money, 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 deeper, getting higher, desire,
Rock on.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know if we were going to get that song together, but man, this band is amazing. And we're a full house today. We've got Cece over there, Camille Carpenter over there on the guitar, Trisha Fopp here on the 12-string and vocals. Leslie Gilroy over here on
Vocals and percussion.
shaking her thing.
It's the
over
shaky
here
thing.
on vocals, and Michael Sprinkles Reisman over there on the piano and viola, everything else. Bruce Clark on that mouth harp over here, and guitar. And Larry Farina back here on the drums, spreading his Larry dust. And Keith Edwards. Grandpa Vegan over here, Keith Edwards Sr. And I'm Candace, I just stand here.
Yeah.
I'm the
our
okayest guitar player in the
leadest
world.
Leader.
I'm the okayest guitar player. So yes, CC and the Recalcitrants, this is, we're going to need a bigger stage. That's just all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
All right, so just a few notes about us. Jubilee Circle, huh? Or smaller heads, right? A bigger stage or smaller heads. Everyone has to lose 30 pounds right now. All right. We are Jubilee Circle. We are an inclusive, progressive, interfaith community here in Columbia, South Carolina, broadcasting around the world. We teach the timeless common wisdom of love and unity that is found in mainstream religions, metaphysical philosophies, mysticism, and inspired secular and religious writers and teachers throughout the ages. And I'll have you know, I've said that thing. It's a typed paragraph, but I have said it enough that when everyone was here for Lang Owen on Friday night, if you missed that show, y'all, it was amazing. I was trying to explain Jubilee, and I launched right into, we're an inclusive, progressive, interfaith community. We teach the timeless common wisdom. I'm like, oh, well, it's sticking, all right. Finally, it's up there with all the Monty Python dialogue, I know. So. All right. So we use popular music, teachings, weekly celebrations, educational and artistic events, and other community building activities because we're trying to create a space here for everyone to experience their own personal spiritual transformation, so then you are becoming that spiritual, powerful transformation out in the world. We believe we're here to expand our souls, to find that deeper meaning to life, to renew our commitment to love always, and to peace and to justice, and learn how to love wastefully, and undergo a transformation from the inside out so complete that we remember who we are, that we are love and light and peace, and that's all we can be in the world. We recognize, though we don't remember that all the time, we are part of God's good creation here. We are formed in love and joy, but also we're walking around made of stardust too, but we forget who we are. We believe instead we're lost in this world of separation and paradox, and we look at other people and we start to judge them. It's just what we do. There they are. They're beautiful and they're ugly. They're good. They're bad. They're generous. They would never give you a dime. Those people are loving, and those people are just so grody. Recalcitrant.
I was going to go for deplorable.
Basket of deplorables, right? Is that the? Yes.
Too political? Nope.
But
Oh, okay, I'll scratch that.
let us remember our divinity, our reality, who we are. We are all beloved. We are all innocent. We are all beautiful. We are all the light of the world. And that should make you say, oh yeah. All right. So coming up next week, we're going to use some music from Tears for Fears. We're going to learn about the Tao of control, because everybody wants to rule the world, right? Especially after this week, we're going to learn who gets to rule the world. Oh, and that being said, I'm not telling you who to do, but go vote. Yes. Please, if you have not voted already, go vote on Tuesday. Coming up Friday, November 18th, we're going to have our movie night, The Shift, starring Wayne Dyer, is what we will be watching. So bring some snacks and beverages and just enjoy a night sitting on the couches over there and watching a movie. If you're sort of a newbie to metaphysical ideas, The Shift is a good movie to start with. It was one of my introductions. Oh, Arlo's playing the chimes. See, we need a bigger stage. We need to.
Ethan
Oh, okay.
Lipton is the musician. You know.
Oh, okay. Yes, yes. I learned a lot from him in that one. Arlo on the chimes. Woo! Coming up Friday, December 9th, the Columbia Operatic Laboratory is going to be back. I don't have a time yet, but they're going to be doing classics and carols. So just in time for Christmas, they're going to get us in the spirit. So they're going to be back. That's Friday, December 9th. Just save the date. We'll have more details. And of course, Friday, December 16th is the big thing. Danielle Howell is going to be here, and she is going to be doing 2 sets, so it's going to be a fun night. It's also, there will be a silent auction to benefit Palmetto Lifeline. So it is a win-win-win, because we're going to have Danielle Howell and fill the place, and we're going to help the puppies and the kitties. So come for that. Tickets are $22. They're on sale already. And there is a little thing in your bulletin that you can go and visit and buy your tickets. Also, Jubilee turns 13 next year.
In January.
Wow. Despite me, Jubilee Circle has carried on for 13 years almost. And we're going to have a big old 13th birthday drag show party. So we're in the midst of planning that. So we will have some beautiful drag queens grace the stage and just have a good time on Friday, January 6th. 10:30 on every Sunday is Soundy School. I hear it was excellent this morning. And A Course in Miracles group meets Tuesdays at 7. Is there anything I'm missing? Anything that I need to mention? Nope. All right. Breathe deeply. Whew. Hear these wise and holy words. From A Course in Miracles, lesson 24. Y'all, this is my favorite lesson from A Course in Miracles. It says,
Hello?
I do not perceive my own best interests. In no situation that arises, do you realize the outcome that would make you happy. Therefore, you have no guide to appropriate action, no way of judging the results. What you do is determined by your perception of the situation, and that perception is wrong. Yes, you can laugh. The Course is funny. It makes jokes all the time. So you can determine your perception of the situation, but your perception is wrong. It is inevitable then that you will not serve your own best interests. Yet they are your only goal in any situation which is correctly perceived. Otherwise, you will not recognize what they are. If you realize that you do not perceive your own best interests, you could be taught what they are. But in the presence of your conviction that you do know what they are, you cannot learn. The idea for today is a step toward opening your mind so that learning can begin. And from Buddhist writer and teacher Ken MacLeod, the mechanism of desire is based on a belief. I am incomplete as I am now. Desire is misdirected yearning that tries to correct the imbalance created by that belief. The belief, in turn, is based on a misperception. I am separate from what I experience. We reach out to the world of experience, identify objects that sing the siren song of completion, and strive to get them. By going into the experience of desire itself rather than acting on it, you let go of the belief that you are incomplete. The energy of desire ceases to dictate behavior and instead fuels presence, being completely in the experience of what is, internally and externally. These are wise and holy words. Thanks be to the holy. All creation is holy word. All creation speaks volumes of the holy. Hallelujah. Oh, yeah. All right, our song this morning, as we get into the message, is from the Rolling Stones. I think a few of you might have heard of them. This song is called "You Can't Always Get What You Want," and it comes from their 1969 release, "Let It Bleed." 2, 3, 4.
Today, the reception, a glass of wine in her hand. I knew she was gonna meet her connection. At her feet was a footloose man. Oh, you can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. But if you try sometime, you just might try. You get what you need. Oh, yeah, baby.
Let's sing that chorus again, 'cause I want this to be your earworm for the week. You can't
Always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. But if you try sometime, you just might find you get what you need. You get what you need.
On a recent podcast, author and life coach Martha Beck told a story about how one morning she was enjoying her healthy probiotic smoothie, and her partner Rowan's 2-year-old daughter Lila asked if she could have some. And Martha Beck told her, "No, this is medicinal and it will make your tummy feel bad." And Beck says that Lila in that moment looked at her like the entire concept of evil had suddenly sunk into her brain. Then she says, the screaming began. Lila thrashed and howled. This is a 2-year-old now. It's not that she wanted the drink that badly, Beck says, but since it was right there, she could see it. It was so close and it was being denied to her. Her anger and frustration intensified and then was unleashed. And I don't know about any of you, but it was this moment that I realized that Lila is my spirit toddler. I feel just like, yeah, anybody else? That's your spirit toddler right there. I feel just like her. I want to pitch that same kind of colossal fit whenever I think about Jubilee Circle. Ever since we began this odyssey back in 2010, my one desire has been for this to be a thriving spiritual community that is supported solely by the generosity and financial dedication of its members. And Jubilants, we were this close. We were almost there. In 2019, I was just like Lila. I was staring at what I had dreamed of and wanted this entire time. It was within my grasp. I could feel it. I could smell smell it. I could almost touch it and taste it, and then snatched away by COVID.
Not here. Uh-oh.
In the life of both businesses and churches, there is something known as a tipping point. It is that moment when you go, it's the overnight success. Larry and I were talking about this. You work for 20 years and then you're an overnight success, right? You come out of nowhere or something. It's your tipping point when you go from small and struggling to sizable and strong. And in March of 2019, Jubilee was teetering. We were on that tipping point. There was consistently about 35 people in the room every celebration. We had a lot of events happening. People were learning about us. They were feeling excited about being here. We were not completely financially thriving yet, but giving was up. People were generous when they needed to be. My dream was right there. Right there. And in that moment, back in March of 2020, every single one of us thought, yeah, it'll be a 2-week break and we'll be right back at it. How'd that work out? Here we are almost 3 years later. Here we are 3 years later at square one. Right back where we were. My inner 2-year-old, my spirit toddler, is having a tantrum. Not happy about any of this. And you know what you do with unreasonable toddlers? Mothers, anybody? Let them cry it out. Let them have their fit. Get it out of your system. So what sparked my recent tantrum? Well, it was a board decision to pivot. Now, in my day job, I read about and write about business and leadership. That's just what I do. 5 days a week. And the one thing that I learned that made a difference between businesses and churches that survived COVID and came out of it thriving was their ability to pivot away from a business model that didn't work anymore in this strange new world to one that would. And some of you may have heard some of the things about the living room and the things we're trying to do. That's the plan for Jubilee Circle. Because Jubilee Circle, being the star, isn't working. That's a business model that doesn't work anymore. We got to pivot. And it makes sense to pivot to what is our strength in this moment. And you're sitting in it. This beautiful space. So we shift the emphasis from who meets here to what this place is. At Lang's show on Friday, I had a musician come up to me and say, this is a hidden gem. And that's it. We are a hidden gem. This space, not the gym where you work out, but the GEM, the one that sparkles. But we are the little sparkly gem. Oh, poor little baby. Arlo would fall go boom. Oh, he's going to clean. Oh, Arlo, I love you. That's great, man. He's going to push the broom. Are we going to get a shot of Arlo? Okay. Anyway, so, but yeah, so we're going to move. We're going to move this place to host events. We're going to call it the living room because we've got those couches over there. It looks like the living room. And we're going to use it to host events like Lang and Danielle and the other performances like the Opera Company and space for places for businesses to meet. We already have a group that rents semi-sporadically, just to meet in the space. So, hey, we've got all this. We've got this space. It's great. But the tea leaves are clear. We either do this kind of pivot where the space is the star instead of Jubilee, or we go the way of so many other businesses and churches in the wake of the pandemic. It makes sense. But you know, my toddler, was just, no, it's not fair. It's not fair. I have spent nearly 13 years trying to make this dream come true, and now I got to start all over again. We rented space from others, and now we're just back to being a renter again, even though we're the landlord. I mean, it's weird. felt like a failure to my ego and a completely unfair setback. The desire of mine was again delayed, left unfulfilled. But you know what? Desire, it gets a bad rap. People think that the Buddha taught that desire is bad and is the root of all suffering, and that is not true. The Buddha taught what causes suffering is not our desires, but our attachment to those desires. When we get all wrapped up in wanting to control exactly how our desires manifest in the world around us, that's when the suffering starts. That's when the temper tantrums happen, when things don't pan out the way we said they ought to pan out. So the only thing that ever soothes my inner toddler is lesson 24 from a workbook of A Course in Miracles. I do not perceive my own best interests. I know what I want. But is that really the best? I don't know. In no situation that arises do you realize the outcome that will make you happy. Therefore, you have no guide to appropriate action, no way of judging the result. What you do is determined by your perception of the situation, and that perception is wrong. If you realize that you do not perceive your own best interests, you could be taught what they are, and that jubilance is the good news that our inner toddler needs. See, we have an inner toddler right now. We have an outer one. Poor baby. Yeah. Oh, Arlo wanted the wine. Oh, man. All right. I don't blame him. If we realize that we have no idea what's in our own best interest, then we can release our attachment to our desired outcomes and be open to learn about what truly is in our own best interest. And how do we do that? We stop watching the thing that we desire. And instead, we begin watching the inner spirit toddler who can teach us that while we can't always get what we want, we will always, in every way, get exactly what we need. Breathe deep. 2, 3, 4.
To the demonstration to get my fair share of abuse. Singing, we're gonna vent our frustration. If we don't, we're gonna blow a 50 amp fuse. Sing it to me now. You can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. But if you try sometimes, just might find you get what you need. Oh, yeah.
When little Lila had her blow-up over being denied a sip of Beck's drink, Beck says she remembered a piece of wisdom that she had learned from one of India's greatest 20th century sages. And I'm going to struggle to say this name, so give me a second. As a man named, it rolled off of her tongue, and I'm like, what? Sri Nisargadatta. Say it again? Nisargadatta Maharaj. Yes. He taught that the mind is interested in what happens. The mind is interested in what happens, while awareness is interested in the mind itself. The child, he says, which is the mind, watches the toy, but the mother, who is awareness, watches the child. And this is how Beck dealt with Lila and provides a model for us to watch our own desires. Instead of focusing on what Lila could not have, that smoothie, Beck says she focused on Lila with a sense of absolute compassion. And this is something we can all do when we get attached to our unmet desires. In that moment when we're so consumed with getting what we want, we're that child wanting that toy or wanting that drink. But if we can breathe deeply and step back from the attachment to that desire we can then become the loving and compassionate awareness, that mother that sees the suffering of the child and gathers it up in her loving arms to console it. And this is what I had to do for myself when my spirit toddler had its little temper tantrum. I had to lovingly turn my attention from my attachment to how I think this place should be and what I think is in my best interest, and lovingly tend to the pain of having an unfulfilled desire. Why is it that our unfulfilled desires hurt so badly? Well, Buddhist teacher and author Ken MacLeod says it best. The mechanism of desire is based on a belief. I am incomplete as I am now. Desire is misdirected. It's misdirected yearning, he says, that tries to correct the imbalance created by that belief. The belief, in turn, is based on a misperception. We don't know what's best for us. The misperception that I am separate from what I experience. We reach out to the world of experience, identify objects that sing the siren song of completion, and then we strive to get them, he says. And this jubilance has been my problem for 13 years because I have expected Jubilee to complete me in some way. I have seen it as something to strive for, something that would make me feel whole, successful, respected, whole, maybe even revered in some way. Hello, ego. The only way out of desire, MacLeod says, is something that the Buddhists call renunciation. And this, like desire, is a misunderstood concept as well, because when we talk about renunciation, we think that we're just swearing off of desiring altogether. Fine, I don't want anything. No, that's not true. The path to renunciation, MacLeod says, leads us straight through desire. We must move into the experience of our desire, he says, instead of trying to fulfill or repress it. So he proposes an exercise of thinking about something you want, whether it's an actual object, a relationship, recognition, a fully member-supported spiritual community, whatever floats your boat of desire in this moment. He says, let that feeling come up. Experience how it feels in your body. Feel all the emotions that come up. Let that spirit toddler thrash about. Let it tell its stories about how unfair life is and how you're never going to get what you want. Don't control the experience, MacLeod says. Don't use it as a time, I got to work on that. No, just let it go. Move completely into that desire. Experience it fully, because he says when you do, a shift will occur. And when you look at your desire again after this exercise, you will notice a change. By going into the experience of desire itself, MacLeod says, rather than acting on it, you let go of the belief that you are incomplete. The energy of desire ceases to dictate behavior and instead fuels presence. Being completely in the experience of what is internally and externally. And jubilance, I will tell you, this works. I took my desire for Jubilee through this exercise, and on the other end, I had a revelation. I am complete, whether Jubilee exists or not. The energy of the desire for Jubilee to be what I dictate for it to be completely dissolved. I let go of the attachment. And I found myself fully present in the experience of what is. And I also realized something else. Jubilee is already complete. Jubilee has succeeded. There are a lot of new spiritual communities that pop up and are gone in months, maybe a couple of years. Has anyone heard of Rachel Held Evans? She was an evangelical writer. She died a couple of years ago at the age of like 35, but she was an amazing woman. And I interviewed her once, and she talked about this spiritual community that she and her husband had started, and it lasted like 2 or 3 years. And at this point, Jubilee had been around for 7, 8, and she's like, wow. Good for you, because you're doing something right. We're going on 13 years. How is that a failure? How is that a failure? But I can't keep projecting my desires on Jubilee. Jubilee is. It's doing what it's doing. I don't know what's in my own best interest. How can I know what is in Jubilee's best interest? All I can do is keep watching my spirit toddler and hold her when her desires overwhelm her, and reassure her that she is complete no matter whether any of her desires are fulfilled out here in the world or not. So Jubilants, I invite you this morning, what are your desires? What are they? Renounce them. That doesn't mean you give up wanting what you want. What it does mean is that you must realize that you don't know what's in your own best interest. But if you are willing to keep your heart open, Holy Spirit will teach you what's best. And if you are open enough, it will manifest. This isn't how I planned it, but it's great. Better in many ways than I could imagine. The Tao of Desire is the process of learning that we are not the child desperately desiring the toy, the things of this world that give us momentary satisfaction but never any lasting joy or peace or love. Instead, we must learn we are the awareness. We are not the child, we are the mother that watches the child, the dreamer who knows that our desires are just made up madness. But the pain of not getting what we want, it is real, and it needs to be experienced. So we can release the desire and remember that we are already complete. So I invite you this week, Jubilants, when you find yourself caught in a web of desire and that inner spirit toddler is throwing some manner of epic tantrum, breathe deep. Create that space where you can shift your view from the toy to the child, from the desire to the desirer. Go deeper into that feeling of desire. Really taste it, touch it, smell it, hold it tight. Feel the pain of incompletion, because it is in that moment of renunciation, MacLeod says, that you discover true freedom, the deep, quiet joy that has always been present in you. What you seek is with you, Rumi says. You just need to stop watching the toy. Watch your inner toddler. Because you may never get the worldly toy that you want. But if you follow this process, you will find that every time you will get the true freedom, the deep, quiet joy that you always need. Because what you seek is with you. And when you realize that, in that moment, all you'll know to say is, oh yeah. 2, 3, 4.
I saw her today at the reception in a glass of bleeding rain. She was practiced at the art of deception. Well, I could tell by her blood-stained hands. You can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. But if you try sometime, you just might find, you just might find, you get what you need. Oh yeah. You can't always get what you want. always get what you want.
Everybody.
You can't always get what you want. But if you try sometime, you just might find, you just might find, you get what you need. Oh yeah, get what you need. Oh yeah, you get what you need. Oh yeah, you get what you need.
Oh, yeah. Bruce Clark, everybody. Doing his Mick Jagger this morning. And Bill Wyman on the bass. Who was the drummer? Charlie Watts. Charlie Farina back there. Breathe deeply. I invite you this morning in this meditation time to pay attention to your inner toddler. Because we're all pitching a fit about something at some point. I mean, really, there's just something. What was it? I was doing something. I was in the shower. That's what it was. I was in the shower the other day, and I just, you know how you have like arguments or something, or a discussion with somebody, and you have the I wish I had said this, yes. And so you're in the shower or driving your car, and you're having the conversation all over again. No one's ever experienced this, right? No, and you win this time, right? Yes, you do. You win this time. You're like, yes, and then I won the argument. You know what that's called? It's called grievance. It's called having a grievance. And we do it all the time. That's your inner toddler. It was just my inner toddler having a different kind of tantrum going, I should have said this. Huh? Festivus is coming, right. Right, the airing of the grievances, right. Right. The feats of strength, yes. Airing of the grievances. So I had a shower of airing of the grievances. And I realized I had to laugh at myself at some point because I'm like, wow, I am just not even here at all. The ego is just, I have left my body. The ego is having the whole thing. It's a field day. But that's what we do. We're always caught up somewhere in the inner toddler pitching a fit. And when we can become the awareness, see, I went on for a good, 5 or 10 minutes down the airing of the grievances path before I went, whoa. But it's the moment of, whoa, that's when we become the awareness. When we go, wow, this is interesting. And you know what? It was like a conversation that happened 10 years ago. I mean, it really was. It was a long, long time ago. It wasn't even something that was fresh. I mean, it was like a double wow. It's like, that person's probably dead. I don't know. Why is it in my own best interest to hold an airing of the grievances when I should be enjoying a nice warm shower and being present for that nice warm shower? I didn't feel a thing in that shower. How did I get so wet? I must have taken a shower. I was watching the toy. It was my desire to win a decade-old argument. Talk about not being in the now. Woo! That was down memory lane. But the awareness, it's there. I've been practicing this. So at some point, awareness went, hey, you might want to chill. Right, water's getting cold. We have a tankless water heater. It never gets cold.
Was it Twain that said the perfect rejoinder occurs tomorrow?
Exactly, the perfect rejoinder occurs tomorrow. And when you're in a conversation and everybody's making a pun and you 2 days later you think of that's called pun burn. Oh, I've got a case of punburn. You have to call them up and go, hey, remember? And they don't remember, but oh, it was so good. Breathe deeply. I'm going off track. I invite you to embrace your inner spiritual toddler in this time, because it's pitching a fit about something. That's my point. What are you pitching a fit about? What desire is unmet? Where do you think you know what's in your own best interest? Because you're wrong. We don't have all the information. We have no idea. And usually when we say that's in our own best interest, it depends on what other people do, right? Well, if they do this, then that'll be good for me. Okay, what are the odds? How's that working so far? But they're not, and then I've got to make them, and then I got to make them vote right. I got to make them govern right. I got to make them. We'll talk about control next week. Yeah, to be continued. We're going to talk about that. Become the awareness. Watch the toddler. And love that toddler. Let it have its tantrum. But know in the end, you can't always get what you want. But I guarantee, whatever happens, you will get what you need. Oh, yeah. Breathe deeply. I don't know what's in my own best interest. And I don't know what's in the own best interest of anybody in here. But I do know that the world needs a place like Jubilee Circle. And as long as we have this space, as long as we have people who are supporting at the level that they're supporting, I think we'll be here. That's great. If we end up not being here someday, I don't know what's in my own best interest. I have no idea. I do what is presented to do before me in every moment. And right now, it's Jubilee. And so that's what I do. And in this moment, Jubilee asks for your support. That you help it be all it can be to become whatever is best for everyone involved. You can give online. You can go to jubileecircle.com, and there is a link there that you can pay PayPal or Venmo. You can send us a check to Post Office Box 4611, Columbia, South Carolina. The chimes, they like sent me into a whole different little moment there. Beautiful. Columbia, South Carolina, 29240. And I'll pass the basket around here. Some of nobody judge. There are lots of people who give online. So as it comes around, don't. There you go. Can you pass anybody back there? Okay. All right. So we're going to say goodbye to those who are visiting with us on YouTube. Did we get a shot of Arlo? Did we? Hey! That's Arlo playing the chimes over there, everybody. He's the star. He really is. That beautiful boy. But thank you so much for joining us. And remember, as we say, we quote Meister Eckhart, if the only prayer you ever say your entire life is thank you, it will be enough, because that puts you in the now, which is where gratitude lives. So we are grateful for you. We are grateful for everyone in the building. And thank you so much for being here. And we're going to let our YouTube folks go. So thank you. And as we say,